G'day guys, another layout. This one is titled First Christmas. I got these two cut files. They're separate cut files. The tree and the First Christmas I got from PEARTREE cut files. I'll put the link below. It's not an affiliate link, but that's just where I bought them from. And basically this layout has come about. If you were a part of the live that I had last week or the week before, I'm not sure what date this one's going up, but I did a technique. Now, when I say I did a technique, I was basically trying to use up some stickers out of sticker books. We all have sticker books, right? And it's kind of one of those things where, well, I know I do it. If I buy one sticker book, then I need to buy all of them because, you know, you just don't know. You might just need one out of the other book. And, you know, that's the kind of person that I am. Unfortunately, it kind of leaves me with a lot of stickers. So these are the American Crafts sticker books. Now, this particular book is the Christmas one. So it's got fall/autumn, Christmas. I think it's got Halloween in it and Easter. I think it's got in there. Anyway, so I just wanted to go through and use some of these stickers up. All I'm doing is tearing these rectangle stickers up just to sort of paper piece and just fill in the blanks. All I did was lay down the pieces of the tree so I roughly know how big I have to, the space I have to sort of cover. And I'm not using any particular sticker. As you can see, I'm using these stickers that you can use in your diary. I'm using some clear ones. I'm using all sorts of everything. And there I use that star, and I do put that off to the side because I do fussy cut that. That ends up being my star at the top. It's more of a wand because it was from the Halloween section, but I'm using it as a star. That's what we're going to use it for. So I go ahead, and if you watch the live, I actually did this in one of my titles and it looked so good. When it was finished, it looked so good. And I had to do it again. I've had a couple of people sort of say to me, can you do it again and do it in a process video? So this is what I'm doing. This is not difficult. Anybody can do this. It's just tearing up and just keep layering up the stickers until you can't really see what each sticker is. I mean, the pine cones there, you can see those, and you can see the big peppermint lolly at the top. You can see that. But everything else, I wanted it to kind of just all smush together and just look like when a kid decorates a Christmas tree. That's what I was kind of going for. Now, I just went to town with this particular book because, to be honest, I've got this. If you're a part of the live, you know how many of these books I have. I think I have all of them bar two. And I used to do some journaling and whatnot when the kids were a bit younger, and they were really handy in the notebooks, like in what were they? Me and My Big Ideas. Like, they were really good in those sort of albums. But I don't do that much anymore, and I do have a diary that I write in every single day, and I kind of just went ahead and just wanted to just play and just let it go because I find that's when you get the best results. Now, the one that I did in my, oh, by the way, all those bits of gold, they were just some letters, and I just broke them and just stuck them all over the tree just to add some metallic in there. Now, in the live, I actually went over the title with glossy accents. But I wanted to give you an alternative because I did get a comment and someone said they don't have glossy accents and what else can you use? So I decided on this one that I was going to use something that we can all get our hands on. This is just clear glue, clear school glue. That's all this is. It's the Kmart, it's the Spotlight brand, the Crafter's Choice, I think, is the brand. Sorry, I'm just reaching for it if my chair squeaks. Crafter's Choice Clear Glue. Bonds paper, fabric, and cardboard, acid-free, dries clear, right? So I sometimes reach for that, and before I clued on to glossy accents and how amazing it is, this is what I used to use, and I still do, because pretty much all I'm putting that down, the glue down for, is just to hold all the extra, you know, the corners and the bits that might stick up and let go. So I just wanted to seal it, basically. You could use a multi-matte medium glue from Ranger. You could use, what else could you use? You could use, I mean, you could get super cheap, and you could use your kids' Clag glue. I don't know if kids still use Clag glue anymore, but you could use some of that. You could use some PVA glue, just dilute it. I wouldn't go 50-50. I'd probably go 75-25 with the PVA glue. But if you're after, like, as you can see, this dries clear, and it does have a slight sheen to it, but it's nothing over the top. If you want that super high gloss, use the glossy accents. It works perfectly. Now, I am just, these tiers came all separate. You saw it at the beginning. It came all separate, and basically you can create a tree with the inserts as well as the outside piece. So you can go to town with this. You can use your oxide inks. You could use your there is another idea that I've got in my head that I might do in the next couple of weeks. I know I'm doing a little bit of Christmas at the moment. Now, I know I'm not trying to make everybody panic because Christmas is around the corner, but I find it frustrating. For myself, years ago, it used to be really frustrating when Christmas would come around and everyone would be working on their Christmas, what do they call them? 30 Days of Christmas, or their mini albums, basically. And there was nothing new, nothing fresh. So I'm kind of trying to give you some ideas that will allow you to go to town, create good layouts that are different, that don't use the same technique that we've all seen. We all know how to back a cut file. Simple. This particular cut file, you could use your Christmas wrapping paper from that year. So, for example, coming up this year, you might be someone that does the wrapping of the gifts that you share. I'm going to word it like that. The gifts that you share, you might color coordinate them all. So you might want to do, and your tree might match your gifts. You know, I've seen, and I swear it looks amazing. You know, like the silver and the blue on a white tree, and then you gift wrap your presents that you're giving, and you use silver or purple ribbon or blue ribbon, or, you know, that sort of thing. You could use some of that Christmas paper, and you could back your cut file so that your Christmas tree for that year matches the papers that you used that year. You could do something like that. You could get your children to put fingerprints all over some white cardstock. I would say cardstock, not paper. But you could use just normal copy paper, and you could just do fingerprints and just get them to dot them all over, and that would make a really cute Christmas tree for 2023. There's so many ideas that just come flooding to my head when you do this. You can also use stamps to create a background. You could go very grungy like Tim Holtz does. So I want to try and bring you, before the season hits you, I want to try and bring you some inspiration so you know that you can fall back on that. And I will possibly try and put them all my Christmas videos, if I'm organized by then. By mid-November, I might create a Christmas playlist so you can revisit those videos and go, oh yeah, I remember I wanted to do that tree. Where do I get that tree from? You know, or where do I get those chipboard cutouts from? You know, I think that might make it easier. I know Christmas is extremely overwhelming for a lot of people. Now, I'll be honest with you, here in Australia, we do not have cold Christmases. We certainly do not have snow. I Look, you might find maybe in Tasmania you might get a cold front or something, but here in Queensland, there is no snow ever, let alone any snow for Christmas. So, to be honest, I'm not going down a snowy route for this one. I'm scrapbooking a couple of photos of Angela's first Christmas, and what I actually went around the cut file there in the gold, that's actually the what's it called? The gold mica powder that I make up with the gum arabic, and it makes it into a paint, and you can just add a little bit of water, rejuvenates it, and you can paint it down. Now, I went over these little bits and pieces with some distressed watercolor pencils. Now, spoiler alert, they don't stay that color, because as soon as I put them on my layout, the color didn't work, and you will see why in half a shake of a dog's hind leg. So there's my tree. I'm loving my tree. You can put it together however you want. You can either layer these on top of each other, you can fill in the back pieces, you can raise up the front pieces, you could use your what are they called? Your fringing scissors. You could use those and make the tree even more tree-like. You could do that as well. If you're interested in me doing a live and just showing you some different techniques to make your trees come alive, let me know and I will do that. As you can see, I did pull out a coloured paper to go with my background. Now, this is did I write it down? Yes, the DCWV Holiday Homestead Collection. I've had that in my collection for I can't even tell you how long. And this mint paper just went perfectly, but I wanted it to have a darker border. So I pulled out my distress ink. This is cracked pistachio, and I just added a little bit extra because it's the same tone, but it's just darker. Now, I was a little bit thrown off. As soon as I did that, I thought, oh, did I just wreck this? And it did take me a little bit to get my bearings and get things back to how I actually wanted it. So I did my white border, thinking that the white, then the dark green, and then the already green background would work really well. And the way Angela is leaning on this esky, it cracks me up. She was walking at this point. Now, she was born in March, and this was actually December. Yes, it was just December. And she was cruising around, walking around, doing her own thing. But she was a micro machine. And let me tell you, I have to say, I'm just grounding my tree a little bit there with some brown Distress Oxide inks. I'd used walnut stain and a bit of gathered twigs just to give me a little bit of a brown something for the tree to be grounded on, because otherwise it feels a bit like there's a floating tree. Notice my star, I stuck that up the top. The stick part of the wand is actually down the back of the tree, and it works a treat. Can you see how the first, the number and the S and the T, they just didn't match at all? I was thinking that brown was a bit too dark. So I went over it with the cracked pistachio. At this point, I'm thinking that I'm destroying the layout. I'm thinking that it's just not going to work at all, and I don't know what to do with it. But once I glue those bits in and then put the Santa hat together, I'm starting to feel it a little bit. It was one of those layouts. I don't scrap with these kind of colors very often. And to be honest with you, I use cracked pistachio is probably one of the least used colors that I have. Isn't that weird? Yet, right at the very beginning of this whole process, I thought that that would be one of the colours. Now, watch what I do here. This takes me forever to realise that I don't like this. So I'm just putting some tissue paper behind these photos. And this is Taylor, who is now 24, holding Angela. So, you know, these photos are a long time ago. This was back in 2008. So, I'm not liking the tissue paper. I'm not liking how it's coming together. It's just sort of looking wrong. I couldn't quite figure out what was going wrong with it. And then I thought, I think it's because I put the first Christmas, I put it on an angle, and I'm not even joking. The second I did it, I was like, I bet you don't like this layout. So I tried, but I wasn't confident. So I decided to use up the last of that cracked pistachio Distress Oxide ink that was on my my laminated sheet there, and I dried it and I figured out what I was doing with it, and it was all good. And then I thought, okay, if I maybe they need a color on the background, that's what it needs. Mind you, I'm still just layering up the same color on top of the same color. I needed to introduce a neutral color. That's what I needed. And I'm still at this point. Stick with me, because literally in the next 4 minutes, I realize what I'm doing wrong and it comes together. So this is what I mean. Sometimes, guys, we all have days where it isn't easy. Some days are hard, and some days you need to walk away from the craft room and go, start again tomorrow, because it happens to me. It happens to everybody. So now I'm just gluing down these photos. They have to go on an angle as well. Otherwise, the first Christmas is just going to look weird. I know. I sort of, yeah. Can you believe right here, I finished my first gold pen, and I couldn't believe it. I was struggling, and then I had to go for the hunt because I was like, I'm sure I've got another one. Better have a backup one. And I did. I do have a backup one, and I can't believe I finally finished a pen. The gold pen. I finish the white ones and the black ones. I go through like water. But this one, it brings it all together. I went over the white part of the Christmas tree with the gold to try and tie the gold and the gold, thinking that's the angle I needed to do. Then I went around the border with the gold pen. Still, it's not popping. It's just looking very wishy-washy, and it's not working. So then I went around with my little did it, 2 little lines. It still didn't work. You can see my fingers tapping. Then I thought, maybe if I highlight these little stars that are in the background with a dot in the center of them, maybe that'll give me a little bit of a sprinkle, and that will work. And I think it was about here that I realized what I needed to do. And this is when everything starts to roll together and it starts working. Now, the reason my hand is on that angle, isn't it funny the things you do to remember what you're doing? Now, I was at this point, I wasn't feeling very well, and there was a storm coming and it was just messing with my head really bad. So I have my hand like that telling me that's the angle of the light source, Karen. So to do the shadows on the opposite side of the way my hand's pointing. Some days you just got to do what you got to do to make it work. And once I put that around the Christmas, it looked so much better. Still wasn't a real fan of the crooked. I can't do the crooked thing. It didn't work for me, but that's okay. So then I did a swirl under the Christmas tree, and then I went around the border with a little bit of a black squiggly line. So it's going over the top of the gold. So you've actually got a couple of lines there, and that is making me a lot happier. It is totally working for me now. That's when I realized the Christmas tree needs more definition, and it needs the shadow underneath it. I could have pulled out my Distress watercolors and really grunged it a bit, but I don't think that's what this particular page needed. So I just used my Uniball Signo, hang on, what's this one called? No, this is the Uniball Gel Impact black pen, and it's the 1.0 millimeter. So that one I like to use when I really want to see the black. And once I go through and put this under the tree, it just lifts the tree and separates each layer, and it looks much better, and I was much happier with it. So as you can see, this has all come together in the end. This is where I was procrastinating and wasn't too sure whether I was adding more to it, but you can see in the close-ups that are coming up right now that it did all work. Don't forget, I'll have everything listed in the description below, including the links to the PEARTREE cut files. And they're not affiliate links, they're just there to make life easier for you in case you want to do the tree too. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave me a comment, all that fun stuff. I'm getting a lot of positive vibes from reading all my comments lately. Just FYI, just letting you know. I am absolutely loving this, and don't forget, if you are watching, you haven't subscribed, I am trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by Christmas time 2023, so let's see if we can do it. So if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, that would be amazing. Don't forget to like and share it with your friends. Thanks so much, guys. I hope you liked it, and I will be back and I will chat to you again soon. Bye for now.